Welcome back to Crystal Clear Coaching with your coach, Crystal Tottenham. That is I. So today I worked and then moved house, which is kind of a lot. Anyway, I thought I was just gonna dump my stuff and go to sleep, and found myself completely unpacking everything. So now I'm set up, so it's very exciting. And it's the first space I've had like properly like ownership over in a long time. I had a semblance of it at my friend's house, but yeah, no, I like just feel like I can own this room a bit more. It's very exciting. Anyway, yesterday I was talking about shame, and how the shame we hold on to, that we keep secret, keeps us from so many things. Like it can block us from going for what we want in life. And it can block us from connections that we want in our life. There's so much that shame just like secretly, there's so much that shame is secretly running the show. Like so many ways that shame is secretly running the show, should I say. Like we won't go for certain jobs because we think we're not worthy because we have shame around something that we've linked to a shame in our past. Which honestly, I think a lot of the time that shame, if we actually spoke our truth and brought light to the situation and shared it with trusted, safe individuals, it would probably dissipate, if not completely dissolve. It would at least lessen, because if you just choose for not some for something not to shame you, you can't give it. You're not giving, no longer giving it that power over you. And also, by not sharing your shame, you are robbing an opportunity for connection with someone that wants to see you in what holds you back and help you have those human moments to release what you need to. And look, you do have to make sure you're being wise about discerning whether a person is a safe space to share what you're ashamed about or not, because that is the worst thing you can do, is sharing it with the wrong person. And then, but also sharing it with the wrong person, knowing that you're not strong enough in yourself, that if they reject you from sharing your shame, that you won't stand up for yourself, you know? So I think, like, I shared how a friend um shared her shame only to have her her fears um come true, that this person wasn't going to accept something she was deeply ashamed of. And um yeah, and but she, like, very gratefully had already cultivated that strong advocate self advocating for herself. And so she was like, you know what, screw that. If they're gonna just judge me for my shame that I like held on for so long and I needed to share and let go, no, I'm not gonna allow that. No, I deserve better than that. And so she advocated for herself, and it meant that she was taking her power back. And we could do that in any given moment and just choose not to feel shamed of the thing that we feel shamed for. But It's easier said than done. And sometimes just being willing to have conversations. You can start with a safe stranger or like a therapist or whatever you feel or discern what is feels a safe space for you to share that, whatever it is. But imagine if you didn't have the shame, if like this wasn't part of your internal world, like what would your life look like differently, you know? And look, I'm again here, like you don't have to tell me the shame. Nobody's asking you to say what the shame is that you have, your deepest shame or shames. And it's heavy for you to carry, whatever it is. It's heavy. Like, aren't you getting tired from carrying that load? Can you just imagine? Can you give yourself the grace for a moment to imagine what it would be like if you put it down? If you brought light to the situation, you owned it, and you shared it with this safe people at that safe place or with that safe person, however it looks for you. What might that bring to your life? And can you imagine if you were like you but not quite you, just the version of you that had never had this shame? How would you be operating differently? But also on that, what has this shame taught you? What's the silver lining? So yeah, I honestly think it's such a beautiful moment when you're feeling really judged for something and it's something you've held on and felt so ashamed of and secretive about. And then one day, maybe you hear someone else talking about them doing a similar thing and it was this like it's nothing and they didn't make a big deal of it and well they're being celebrated for it or something and you're just like what? And your shame can just almost disappear like that because you're just like, oh, I don't need to feel ashamed for that thing. I thought we were supposed to feel ashamed for that thing. It's like, according to who, though, you know? And sometimes it's like, oh, well, they're allowed to not feel ashamed for it. And we make a meaning for ourselves that we must feel ashamed for it, obviously. And yeah, it's just crazy the hoops we will jump through to make sure we feel shame. Um, but yeah, the most beautiful moments is when you share a story of your shame and somebody else hears it and gets to release their shame because suddenly the conversation isn't judgmental. It's, um, yeah, it's like it's healing because, you know, you're letting things go, you know? It's connecting you, like you talk with someone about, a shared kind of shame around something, only to realize, oh, wait, we're both realizing this is not a big deal. Wow. And then that connects you and that bonds you, and you have a level of understanding and trust for that person that maybe you didn't have before. Are we pushing away our deepest possible connections that would light up our life because we're too ashamed to share that secret thing deep within our souls that feels shameful or that we feel guilty about. And we're robbing ourselves and the other people that could be deeply connected to us of that by not bringing light to our shame, allowing it to dissolve. And look, not all shame is the same. Uh, there's so many nuances I couldn't even begin to understand. Everyone's individual shame around different situations. But that's not the point. Only you need to know what you need to look at for yourself and even just consider what difference it might make for you to dissolve that shame, whether it comes from that external source or you have to self-source to let go of that shame, which we always know what's more powerful, the internal, doing it yourself. Don't worry about the outside world. And isn't your life, your potential connections worth like letting go of that shame? Just considering letting go of that shame, even if you can't even fathom the idea of taking action towards how you let go of that. You just consider what someone like you, not you, but someone like you in a very similar situation, what would you suggest they do? How might their life look from more of a zoomed out meta perspective if they were to let go of that shame? What areas of their life will they no longer be held back in? You know? Just saying. Just consider it again. You can still keep your shame secret to yourself if you want. Start by just maybe considering that whatever you're ashamed about, you don't have to be ashamed about. Whether someone else tells you that and externally validates you, or the world somehow externally validates you, or not, you're just choosing to not feel ashamed. You do you. But start somewhere. In small ways if you need to. Maybe there's a small shame that you can deal with. And you work your way out to some bigger shames you might have. But also we could just let go of all the shame. It's a bit of a shame to have so much shame, right? Anyway. Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go to bed because it is late and I forgot that I hadn't done this yet, and we are committed. We show up here every day, even when I've just worked and moved today, but we're good. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow, and I hope you find a way to let go of your shame, my friend. See you next